The Grand Council chamber on Vexara Prime stretched higher than any cathedral on Earth. Golden light filtered through crystalline panels that floated in the air without any visible support. 12 massive seats arranged in a perfect circle dominated the center of the room, each one carved from a different precious stone found on 12 different worlds. The seats represented the 12 elder species who had ruled the galaxy for more than 10,000 years. Ambassador Kevin Price stood in the center of that circle, feeling very small and very alone. He was the first human being to ever set foot in this place. His dark blue suit looked plain and simple compared to the flowing robes and elaborate armor worn by the alien council members surrounding him. Kevin had spent 3 months traveling across space to reach this moment. He carried with him the hopes of 8 billion people back on Earth. High Counselor Zarathek sat directly in front of Kevin. She belonged to the Vexillian species, tall beings with silver skin and 4 arms. Her eyes glowed with a soft purple light as she looked down at the human ambassador. When she spoke, her voice echoed through the chamber with a strange musical quality that the translation device in Kevin's ear struggled to convert into English. "So, you are from the species that calls itself humanity," Zarathek said. Her tone made it clear she was not impressed. "We have reviewed the data your probe ships transmitted. Your civilization achieved faster than light travel only 6 months ago. How primitive." Laughter rippled around the circle. Kevin felt his face grow hot, but he kept his expression neutral. He had been warned that the galactic community looked down on newcomers. Earth's military advisors told him to expect insults and condescension. They told him to stay calm and polite no matter what happened. "Honored counselors," Kevin began, choosing his words carefully. "Humanity is indeed young compared to your ancient civilizations. We come here today to introduce ourselves and to learn from those who came before us. We hope to build relationships based on mutual respect and cooperation." Another council member leaned forward. This one looked like a massive insect with jeweled wings that caught the light. "Mutual respect?" the alien asked. "What has your species accomplished that deserves our respect? Your ships are crude. Your technology is barely functional. Your worlds are few. You have nothing to offer us." Kevin took a deep breath. "We may be young, but we are not without achievements. We have survived and thrived on our world. We have built great cities and explored our solar system. We have art, music, literature, and science. We have overcome wars and diseases. We have much to learn, but we also have much to share." Zarathek waved one of her 4 hands dismissively. "Empty words. Let me tell you how things work in this galaxy, human. The Galactic Council maintains order and peace. We enforce laws that protect civilized species from chaos. When a new species achieves space travel, they must submit to our authority. This has been our way for 10,000 years. Submit?" Kevin asked. He tried to keep his voice steady, but he could feel anger building in his chest. "Yes, submit," another counselor said. This one resembled a floating jellyfish with dozens of glowing tendrils. "You will open your worlds to our inspectors. You will share all your technology with us. You will accept our laws as your own. You will limit your military forces to the numbers we approve. You will pay tribute to the Council. In return, we will allow you to exist under our protection." Kevin felt his hands clench into fists at his sides. The military advisors had prepared him for demands, but not demands like these. They wanted complete control over Earth. They wanted humanity to become a vassal state with no freedom, no sovereignty, no independence. "I will need to consult with my government," Kevin said carefully. "These are serious matters that require discussion and consideration." Zarathek's eyes brightened with what might have been amusement. "There is nothing to discuss. These are not negotiations. We are informing you of how things will be. You have 1 week to transmit your unconditional acceptance. If you refuse, we will send our fleet to enforce compliance. Resistance will be met with destruction." The chamber fell silent. Every alien eye focused on Kevin, waiting to see how the primitive human would respond. Kevin thought about his wife and daughter back home. He thought about his friends and neighbors. He thought about the billions of people who trusted him to represent them well. He thought about the soldiers and sailors who protected Earth, brave men and women who would die before accepting slavery. Kevin straightened his shoulders and looked directly at Zarathek. "Then I must respectfully decline your offer, High Counselor. Humanity will not submit to foreign rule. We will not surrender our freedom. We will not become slaves, no matter how powerful you believe yourselves to be. We seek friendship and cooperation between equals. If you cannot accept that, then we have nothing more to discuss. Shocked silence filled the chamber. The counselors stared at Kevin as if he had just sprouted a second head. Clearly, no species had ever refused their demands before. Zarathek's glowing eyes narrowed dangerously. "You dare defy us?" she asked, her voice dropping to a threatening whisper. "You, a representative of a species so young and weak? Do you have any idea what you have just done?" "I understand perfectly," Kevin replied. "I have told you that humanity stands free. We will defend that freedom if necessary. I hope it does not come to violence, but we will not bow to threats." Zarathek rose from her seat and the other counselors followed. "Then you have chosen war. Our fleet will arrive at your worlds within 1 month. When they do, you will learn the price of defying the Galactic Council. Your species will serve as an example to others who might harbor thoughts of rebellion. This audience is over. Guards, escort the human back to his vessel." 2 massive armored figures appeared at Kevin's sides. They did not touch him, but their presence made it clear he had no choice but to leave. Kevin turned and walked toward the exit with as much dignity as he could manage. His heart pounded in his chest, but he kept his head high and his back straight. As he walked through the enormous doorway, Kevin heard the counselors begin to talk among themselves. Their voices carried easily in the vast chamber. "Foolish creatures," one said. "They have no idea what they face. This will be over quickly," another added. "Their primitive weapons cannot harm our shields. Their slow ships cannot outrun our fleet. We will crush them in a single battle." "Send Fleet Admiral Corvin," Zarathek commanded. "Give him 40 ships. That should be more than enough to handle these upstart humans. Have him target their colony world first. Once the colonists see their defenses destroyed, the rest of humanity will surrender quickly enough." Kevin heard all of this as he walked away. The aliens did not bother to lower their voices or speak in code. They obviously did not consider humans a threat worth taking seriously. They thought this would be easy. They thought humanity would crumble at the first sign of real military force. The guards led Kevin through gleaming corridors filled with aliens of 100 different species. Some stopped to stare at the human, probably the first one they had ever seen. Others ignored him completely. Kevin noticed that many of them wore expressions of pity. They had probably seen other young species go through the same ritual of submission and defeat. Finally, Kevin reached the docking bay where his small diplomatic shuttle waited. The guard stepped back and allowed him to board alone. As soon as the airlock sealed behind him, Kevin hurried to the cockpit and activated the communication system. "This is Ambassador Price to Earth Command," he said urgently. "Priority 1 message. The negotiations have failed. The Galactic Council has issued an ultimatum demanding our complete surrender. I refused on behalf of humanity. They are sending a military fleet to enforce their demands. Fleet size estimated at 40 warships. Target appears to be New Haven Colony. Estimated arrival time is 4 weeks. Static crackled for a moment before a response came through. "Confirmed, Ambassador. Your message is received. Stand by for orders." Kevin sat back in his seat and closed his eyes. He had just started a war. Humanity's first contact with alien life had ended in disaster. But what choice did he have? Accept slavery for everyone on Earth? Condemn future generations to live under alien rule? No, better to fight and lose than to surrender without resistance. Minutes later, a new message came through. This time, the voice belonged to Admiral Jake Morrison, commander of Earth's defense fleet. Kevin had met him once before departure, a stern man with gray hair and hard eyes that had seen too much combat. "Ambassador Price, this is Admiral Morrison. I have received your report and forwarded it to the President. I want you to know that you did the right thing. Humanity does not kneel. We will meet this threat and we will prevail. Return to Earth immediately." Morrison out, Kevin smiled grimly. The Admiral sounded confident. But could Earth really stand against an empire that had ruled the galaxy for 10,000 years? The Council's technology was more advanced. Their ships were larger. Their experience in war went back countless generations. Humanity had only recently reached the stars. How could they possibly win? But then Kevin remembered something his grandfather used to say, back when he was a young boy sitting on the old man's knee. His grandfather. The war room deep beneath Earth Defense Command headquarters buzzed with activity. Dozens of officers moved between computer stations, updating displays and coordinating with fleets across human space. Admiral Jake Morrison stood at the center of it all, his hands clasped behind his back as he studied the massive holographic display floating in the air before him. The display showed the routes between Earth and New Haven Colony. Red markers indicated the projected path of the alien fleet. Blue markers showed the positions of human warships. There were far more red markers than blue ones. "How long until they reach New Haven?" Morrison asked. His voice was calm, but everyone in the room could feel the tension. 3 weeks, sir," replied Captain Lisa Grant, his tactical officer. She was young, only 30 years old, but she had proven herself brilliant in every simulation and training exercise. "Our scouts confirm 40 enemy vessels moving in formation. They are not trying to hide their approach." Morrison nodded slowly. "They want us to see them coming. They think the sight of their fleet will terrify us into surrender." He turned to face the room. "How many ships can we gather for defense?" 5, sir," Grant answered. "The Valkyrie, Titan, Phoenix, Guardian, and Defender. Those are the only vessels within range that can reach the intercept point in time. The rest of the fleet is too far out or undergoing repairs." Silence fell over the room. 5 ships against 40. The odds were terrible. Some of the younger officers looked worried. A few exchanged nervous glances. But Morrison's expression did not change. He had faced bad odds before. "Then 5 ships it is," Morrison said firmly. "Captain Grant, I want you aboard the Valkyrie with me as tactical officer. Send orders to the other 4 captains. We depart in 6 hours. Navigation. Plot a course to intercept the alien fleet before they reach New Haven." "Sir," a young lieutenant spoke up hesitantly. "With respect, should we not wait for reinforcements? If we engage with only 5 ships, we will be outnumbered 8-1. Morrison looked at the lieutenant with understanding. "If we wait, the aliens destroy New Haven and kill 3 million colonists. Those people are counting on us to protect them. We do not abandon our own. Besides," he added with a slight smile, "numbers are not everything in war. We have a few advantages these aliens do not know about." Captain Grant pulled up a new display. It showed detailed scans of alien ship designs captured by reconnaissance drones. "Our intelligence teams have been studying their technology since first contact. Their ships rely on energy shields that can deflect laser weapons and plasma cannons, very effective against energy-based attacks. But," Morrison prompted, "but their shields are almost useless against kinetic projectiles," Grant explained. "They optimize their defenses for the type of weapons they commonly face in galactic conflicts. They did not expect anyone to still use solid ammunition fired at high velocity. Their shields simply were not designed to stop something physical moving that fast." A murmur of excitement spread through the room. Morrison's smile grew wider. "So our railguns will punch right through their shields?" "Yes, sir," Grant confirmed. "Each of our ships carries railguns that fire solid tungsten rounds at a significant fraction of light speed. The aliens have never encountered weapons like these. Their shields will not even slow our projectiles down." Morrison turned back to the holographic display. "What about their speed and maneuverability?" "Their ships are large and powerful, but slow," Grant said. "They rely on heavy armor and strong shields rather than speed. Our vessels are smaller but much faster and more agile. We can accelerate at rates that would crush an alien crew. Our gravity compensation systems are more advanced than anything they have." "Good," Morrison said. "Speed and surprise will be our greatest weapons. They expect us to meet them in a traditional battle line, ship against ship. Instead, we will use hit-and-run tactics. We strike hard, move fast, and stay unpredictable. Captain Grant, work with the other tactical officers. I want detailed attack plans ready before we launch." 6 hours later, Admiral Morrison stood on the bridge of the UES Valkyrie as the ship prepared to depart from Earth orbit. The bridge was smaller than those on alien vessels, designed for efficiency rather than grandeur. Computer screens lined the walls, showing system status and tactical information. The crew worked quietly at their stations, professional and focused. "All systems green, Admiral," reported Commander Nina Brooks from the engineering station. She was a short woman with graying hair and sharp eyes that missed nothing. "Reactors operating at full capacity, weapons charged and ready, engines prepared for immediate acceleration." "Excellent work, Commander," Morrison replied. He settled into the captain's chair and activated the ship-wide communication system. All hands, this is Admiral Morrison. In a few minutes we will depart Earth to face an enemy that believes themselves superior to humanity. They think we will surrender when we see their fleet. They think we will run when they show their strength. They are wrong. He paused, letting his words sink in. We are not fighting for glory or conquest. We are fighting for freedom. We are fighting to protect our families and our homes. We are fighting because humanity refuses to bow to tyrants, no matter how powerful they claim to be. Every person on this ship volunteered to stand between Earth and those who would enslave us. I am proud to serve alongside you. Let's show these aliens what human courage looks like. A cheer went up from the crew. Morrison smiled and nodded to Lieutenant Chris Martin at the helm. Take us out, Lieutenant. Aye, sir, Martin replied. His hands moved confidently over the controls. The Valkyrie's engines flared to life and the massive warship pulled away from Earth. 4 other ships fell into formation around them, the 5 vessels that would stand against 40. The journey to the intercept point took 2 weeks. During that time, the crews drilled constantly. They practiced firing sequences, evasive maneuvers, damage control procedures. They studied the alien ship designs until they could identify weak points in their sleep. Captain Grant worked 18-hour days creating tactical plans for every possible scenario. Meanwhile, the alien fleet advanced steadily toward New Haven. Fleet Admiral Corvin commanded from his flagship, a massive dreadnought called the Eternal Glory. He was a Draxamite, a species that resembled Earth's reptiles but stood 12 feet tall and possessed incredible physical strength. Corvin had commanded fleets for 50 years and had never lost a battle. How far to the human colony? Corvin asked his navigation officer. 7 days at current speed, Fleet Admiral, the officer replied. Corvin nodded his massive head. Good. Send another message to the humans. Tell them they have one final chance to surrender. Tell them that if they submit now, we will spare their colony. If they continue to resist, we will destroy everything. The message was transmitted. Hours later, a response came back. It was brief and to the point. This is Admiral Jake Morrison of the Terran Defense Fleet. Your surrender demand is rejected. Humanity does not kneel. Turn back now or face the consequences. Laughter erupted on the bridge of the Eternal Glory. The alien officers found the human response hilarious. How could 5 tiny ships threaten 40 massive warships? How could a species that just discovered space travel hope to fight an empire 10,000 years old? Foolish creatures, Corvin said with amusement. Very well. If they wish to die, we will accommodate them. All ships maintain formation and prepare for combat. This will be over quickly. 3 days later, the 2 fleets detected each other on long-range sensors. The human ships had positioned themselves near an asteroid field, using the massive rocks for cover. The alien fleet advanced in a traditional battle line, confident and unhurried. On the bridge of the Valkyrie, alarm klaxons sounded softly. Enemy fleet detected, announced the sensor officer. Range 2 million kilometers and closing. Confirming 40 vessels, all capital ships. Broadcast our final warning, Morrison ordered. This is their last chance to avoid bloodshed. The communication officer sent the message. Alien fleet, this is your final warning. Withdraw immediately, or we will open fire. You have underestimated humanity. Do not make the mistake of engaging us. The response came quickly from Fleet Admiral Corvin. Pathetic humans, you cannot stop us. Surrender now and accept slavery or die. Those are your only options. Morrison looked at Captain Grant. She met his eyes and nodded. They had done everything possible to avoid this fight. Now there was no choice left. All ships, Morrison said calmly into the fleet communication channel. Execute Attack Plan Alpha. Weapons free. Show them what humanity can do. The 5 human warships erupted from their positions near the asteroids. Their engines burned bright blue as they accelerated to speeds the aliens had never seen before. The battle for humanity's future had begun. The UES Valkyrie shot forward like a missile, its engines burning at maximum output. Lieutenant Chris Martin's hands flew across the helm controls, guiding the warship through the asteroid field with precision that seemed impossible. Behind the Valkyrie, the other 4 human ships matched its movements. staying in perfect formation despite the incredible speed. On the bridge of the Eternal Glory, Fleet Admiral Corvin watched his display screens with confusion. "How are they moving so fast?" he demanded. "Their acceleration rates are off the scale. That should be impossible for ships of that size." His tactical officer checked the readings again, thinking there must be an error. "Confirmed, Fleet Admiral. The human ships are accelerating at 3 times the rate our vessels can achieve. They will reach firing range in 90 seconds. Corvin felt the first stirrings of doubt. This was not supposed to happen. Young species were supposed to have slow, crude vessels. These human ships moved like fighters despite their size. "All batteries open fire when they enter range. Target the lead vessel." The alien fleet opened fire. Massive energy beams lanced through space, bright enough to blind anyone looking directly at them. Dozens of weapons focused on the Valkyrie, enough firepower to vaporize a small moon. But the beam struck empty space. The Valkyrie had already moved, twisting sideways in a maneuver that should have torn the ship apart but somehow left it intact. "Evasive maneuvers," Martin reported calmly, as if dodging world-ending weapons was just another day at work. "All enemy fire avoided." Continuing approach. Captain Lisa Grant watched the tactical display, tracking the positions of all 40 alien ships. She had spent weeks planning this attack, running simulations, calculating angles and timing. Now it was time to see if her plans worked in reality. "Target the 3 lead ships," Grant ordered. "Railguns 1 through 6, prepare to fire on my mark." "Railguns ready," confirmed the weapons officer. Firing solutions locked. Grant waited, watching the distance counter tick down. The Valkyrie raced toward the alien fleet at incredible speed. The enemy continued to fire, but their weapons were too slow. They aimed at where the Valkyrie had been, not where it was going. "Every shot missed now," Grant said quietly. First, the Valkyrie's railguns fired in rapid succession. 6 solid tungsten projectiles, each one weighing several tons, launched from the ship at a significant fraction of light speed. There was no flash, no dramatic energy beam. Just 6 chunks of metal moving faster than anything the aliens had ever encountered. The projectiles covered the distance in seconds. The alien shields tried to stop them, energy fields flickering and straining. But the shields were designed to deflect energy, not solid matter moving at relativistic speeds. The tungsten rounds passed through the shields as if they were not even there. The first alien ship exploded. The tungsten round punched through its armor, through its reactors, and out the other side. The ship came apart in a ball of fire and debris. The second ship suffered the same fate a fraction of a second later. The third ship took 2 hits simultaneously and simply ceased to exist, vaporized by the kinetic energy. On the Eternal Glory's bridge, silence fell. Corvin stared at his screens in disbelief. 3 of his capital ships had just been destroyed in the span of 5 seconds. 3 ships that had served for centuries, that had fought in 100 battles, gone in an instant. "What happened?" he whispered. "What did they do?" His tactical officer's hands shook as he reviewed the data. "They used kinetic weapons, Fleet Admiral. Solid projectiles fired at extreme velocity. Our shields were ineffective. The rounds went straight through." "Kinetic weapons?" Corvin repeated. "But no one uses kinetic weapons anymore. That is primitive technology from thousands of years ago. Apparently the humans still use them," the tactical officer replied, "and they made them devastatingly effective. The human fleet did not slow down. The 5 ships split apart, each one racing toward a different section of the alien formation. The UES Titan targeted ships on the left flank. The UES Phoenix went right. The Guardian and Defender circled around to attack from behind, and the Valkyrie drove straight toward the center of the alien formation, directly at the Eternal Glory itself. "All ships, engage the humans," Corvin shouted. "Concentrate fire!" "They cannot dodge forever." The alien fleet tried to respond, but their formation was already breaking down. Ships turned to track the fast-moving human vessels, colliding with each other in the confusion. The rigid battle line that had intimidated countless species fell apart as captains tried desperately to bring their weapons to bear on enemies that moved like ghosts. The UES Titan opened fire on 3 ships simultaneously. Its railguns punched holes through armor and shields with contemptuous ease. One alien ship lost its engines and began to drift. Another lost atmosphere and started to vent crew members into space. The third exploded spectacularly, its reactor going critical. The UES Phoenix flew through the asteroid field, using the massive rocks as cover. When alien ships tried to follow, Captain Ellen Ross led them into traps. Asteroids suddenly had human minds attached to them, explosives that detonated and sent rocks crashing into alien hulls. 2 more ships fell to this tactic, crippled by impacts they never saw coming. The Guardian and Defender worked in perfect coordination, attacking from unexpected angles. They would appear behind an alien ship, fire their railguns, and disappear before return fire could reach them. One by one, alien vessels took damage or were destroyed. The mighty fleet that had terrorized the galaxy for millennia was being torn apart by 5 ships and a few hundred humans. Admiral Morrison stood on the Valkyrie's bridge, watching the battle unfold. His expression remained calm, but inside he felt grim satisfaction. The plan was working. The aliens had expected a traditional battle, ship against ship in neat lines. Instead, they got chaos. They got speed. They got weapons they could not defend against. "Admiral, the alien flagship is trying to withdraw," Captain Grant reported. "The Eternal Glory is turning away from the battle." Morrison nodded. "Pursue. We cannot allow their commander to escape. If he returns to the Council with intelligence about our capabilities, they will adapt their tactics." "Lieutenant Martin, intercept course. Maximum acceleration." "Aye, sir," Martin replied. The Valkyrie leaped forward, eating up the distance between itself and the fleeing flagship. The Eternal Glory was massive and powerful, but it was also slow. The nimble human warship caught up within minutes. Corvin watched in horror as the human ship appeared on his port side. "All batteries, fire! Destroy that ship." Energy beams lashed out, enough firepower to crack a planet. But the Valkyrie was already moving, rolling and diving in patterns no alien ship could match. Not a single shot connected, and then the Valkyrie fired back. 4 railgun rounds struck the Eternal Glory's engines. The massive dreadnought shuddered as its power systems failed. Emergency lights flickered on across the ship. The crew rushed to their evacuation stations, knowing their vessel was doomed. "We are losing power," Corvin's tactical officer reported. "Hull breaches on multiple decks. Engines offline. Life support failing." Corvin slumped in his command chair, defeated. He had fought for 50 years without losing a battle. Now in his final engagement, he had been utterly crushed by a species he had dismissed as primitive. The irony was bitter. "Send the evacuation order," Corvin said quietly. "Save as many crew as possible, and transmit a message to the Council. Tell them that the humans are not to be underestimated. Tell them we have made a terrible mistake." Across the battlefield, the remaining alien ships were fleeing or surrendering. In less than 20 minutes of combat, the mighty Galactic Council fleet had been devastated. 32 ships destroyed or disabled, 8 ships limping away at reduced speed, damaged and demoralized, and the human fleet, all 5 ships intact with only minor damage. Admiral Morrison opened a communication channel to the fleeing alien vessels. His voice broadcast across space, ensuring every surviving alien heard his words clearly. "This is Admiral Morrison of the Terran Defense Fleet. You came to conquer us. You came to enslave us. You thought we would be easy prey. You were wrong. Let this be a lesson to your Council and to all species in this galaxy. Humanity will not be subjugated. We will not surrender our freedom. We will defend ourselves with every weapon at our disposal, and every ounce of courage we possess." He paused, letting his words sink in. "Return to your Council. Tell them what happened here today. Tell them that Earth extends its hand in friendship to all who approach us with respect. But to those who come with threats and demands of submission, we offer only one response. We will fight. We will win. And we will never, ever kneel." The communication ended. On the bridge of the Valkyrie, the crew remained silent for a moment. Then someone started clapping. Others joined in. Soon the entire bridge erupted in cheers. They had done the impossible. 5 ships against 40, and they had won. Captain Grant smiled at Admiral Morrison. "Sir, we should probably prepare for visitors. I have a feeling every species in the galaxy is about to become very interested in humanity." Morrison nodded. "Indeed, contact Earth Command. Inform them of our victory, and then start collecting footage from the battle. I want every moment documented. The galaxy needs to see exactly what happened." The news spread across the galaxy faster than light itself. Every communication relay, every hyperwave transmitter, every data network carried the same shocking information. The Galactic Council's punitive fleet had been destroyed. 40 warships sent to crush a primitive species, and only 8 returned, damaged and demoralized. The species that was supposed to surrender without a fight had instead won a devastating victory. On Vexara Prime, the council chambers erupted in chaos. High Counselor Zarathek stood at the center, her forearms raised for silence, but no one paid attention. Council members from 12 species shouted over each other, demanding answers, placing blame, expressing fear and anger. "Impossible," roared a Draxamite representative. "Fleet Admiral Corvin was one of our finest commanders. His fleet was equipped with our best technology. How could they lose to 5 human ships?" "I have reviewed the battle recordings," said the floating jellyfish-like counselor, its tendrils writhing with agitation. "The humans possess technology we do not understand. Their ships move at speeds that should tear them apart. Their weapons bypass our shields. Their tactics are unlike anything we have encountered." Zarathek finally got the attention of the chamber. "Silence! Panic helps no one. We need to analyze what happened and determine our response." She activated a holographic display that showed footage from the battle. Every council member watched in stunned silence as human ships danced through space, destroying alien vessels with ease. "Pause there," ordered a reptilian counselor. The image froze, showing a human railgun projectile passing through an alien shield. "They are using kinetic weapons, physical projectiles instead of energy beams. Our shields were not designed to stop such attacks." "But kinetic weapons are obsolete technology," protested another member. "We abandoned such primitive methods thousands of years ago." "Why would the humans still use them?" A military analyst stepped forward, a small gray alien with large black eyes. "That is precisely why their weapons are so effective. We optimized our defenses against the threats we commonly face: energy weapons and missiles. We never considered that someone might weaponize simple physics to such devastating effect. The humans did not innovate randomly. They studied us, identified our weaknesses, and exploited them perfectly." Zarathek felt cold dread settling in her chest. "What else have we learned about human capabilities?" The analyst brought up more data. "Their ships accelerate at rates 3 times higher than ours. Analysis suggests their crew compartments have gravity compensation systems far more advanced than anything in our fleets. Their tactical coordination is flawless, suggesting either highly trained crews or artificial intelligence assistance. And most concerning, the 5 ships we faced were not their entire fleet." "What do you mean?" demanded a counselor. "We have detected at least 20 more human warships in various locations throughout their territory," the analyst explained. "The 5 that engaged our fleet were simply the closest vessels capable of responding. Humanity possesses a fleet larger than we initially estimated, and every ship appears to be equally advanced." Shocked murmurs filled the chamber. Zarathek struggled to process this information. "How did we not know this? Where did they acquire such technology?" "They did not acquire it," the analyst said grimly. "They developed it themselves. Further investigation reveals that humanity has been engaged in constant warfare for most of its recorded history. Wars between nations, wars between ideologies, wars over resources. Their military technology evolved through centuries of conflict. While we enjoyed peace and stagnation, they refined the art of war to a level we cannot match." A heavy silence fell over the council. The implications were terrifying. The galaxy had been at peace for so long that military innovation had stopped. Why develop new weapons when the existing ones were sufficient? Why improve tactics when no one challenged the established order? The council species had become complacent, relying on their reputation and past glories. Meanwhile, humanity had been fighting and surviving and learning. Every war taught them new lessons. Every conflict drove innovation. They had not developed their technology in peace, but in the crucible of desperate struggle. And that made them dangerous. "We need to respond," said the Draxamite counselor. "We cannot allow this defeat to stand. Assemble a larger fleet. Send 100 ships this time. Crush the humans before they become a greater threat." "No," Zarathek said firmly. Several counselors looked at her in surprise. "We will not repeat our mistakes. We underestimated the humans once and paid a terrible price. If we send another fleet without understanding their capabilities, we may lose again. And if we lose twice, our authority in the galaxy collapses completely." "Then what do you propose?" asked the jellyfish counselor. Zarathek took a deep breath. "We opened diplomatic channels. We acknowledge that our initial approach was flawed. We offer to meet with human representatives to negotiate a peaceful relationship. And while we do that, we begin immediate military modernization. We upgrade our shields to defend against kinetic weapons. We improve our engines. We train our crews in modern combat tactics. We prepare for the possibility that humans are not the only young species who might challenge us. The proposal shocked many counselors. One stood up angrily. You suggest we negotiate with them as equals? After they destroyed our fleet? That shows weakness. No, Zarathek replied coldly. It shows wisdom. They defeated us in battle. That makes them strong, not weak. We can either acknowledge reality and adapt, or we can cling to pride and face extinction. I prefer survival. While the council debated, the news continued to spread throughout galactic civilization. Stock markets crashed as investors realized that the security they had taken for granted was an illusion. Trading companies worried about disrupted routes. Colonies on the galactic frontier began demanding better military protection. Smaller species that the council had dominated for centuries started to wonder if they too could challenge the established order. On a dozen worlds, military leaders studied the battle footage obsessively. They analyzed every maneuver, every weapon, every tactic the humans employed. Some saw opportunities. If humanity could build such devastating warships, perhaps they could purchase or steal the technology. Others saw threats. If humans could defeat the Council fleet, what would stop them from conquering other species? Back on Earth, the response to the victory was overwhelming. Cities erupted in celebration. Humans who had lived in fear of alien invasion now danced in the streets. Admiral Morrison and his crews became instant heroes. Messages of congratulation poured in from every nation and colony, but not everyone celebrated. In the government offices and military headquarters, leaders understood that the battle was just the beginning. They had won one fight, but they had also painted a target on humanity's back. Every species in the galaxy now knew Earth existed, and knew humans were dangerous. Ambassador Kevin Price met with the President and military leadership in a secure conference room. The Galactic Council has sent a communication, Kevin reported. They request a formal meeting to discuss establishing diplomatic relations. Do we trust them? The President asked. No, Admiral Morrison said bluntly, but we should meet anyway. We need to establish our position clearly. We will not accept submission, but we are willing to negotiate as equals. If the Council can accept that, we can build a working relationship. If they cannot, then we prepare for more conflict. The President nodded. Agreed. Kevin, you will attend the meeting. Admiral Morrison, you will accompany him. I want the Council to understand that we speak with both diplomatic words and military strength behind them. Make it clear that Earth seeks peace but will not hesitate to defend itself. Yes, sir, both men replied. The meeting was scheduled for 2 months later, giving both sides time to prepare. During those 2 months, human shipyards worked around the clock. New warships slid down the construction ways. Existing vessels received upgrades and improvements. Training programs expanded to prepare more crews. Humanity understood that one victory did not guarantee permanent safety. Meanwhile, offers of alliance began arriving from other species. Some genuinely wanted friendship with humanity. Others simply wanted protection from the Council. A few hoped to use humans as weapons against their own enemies. Kevin and his diplomatic team carefully evaluated each offer, building relationships where they made sense, politely declining where they did not. Captain Ellen Ross of the UES Phoenix spent weeks interrogating alien survivors from the battle. She learned about galactic politics, about the Council's structure, about which species held real power and which were merely puppets. The information proved invaluable for understanding the complex web of relationships that governed galactic civilization. The Council is not as unified as they pretend, Ellen reported to Admiral Morrison. There are factions and rivalries. Some species resent the Vexillian dominance. Others want to reform the system. Our victory has given these factions hope that change is possible. Morrison studied the intelligence reports carefully. Then we need to be careful. If we play this correctly, we can build alliances and reshape the balance of power. If we make mistakes, we could unite the entire galaxy against us. 6 months had passed since the battle that changed everything. The Council chambers on Vexara Prime looked different now. Where once there had been 12 seats arranged in a circle of dominance, there were now 13. The newest seat, carved from Earth marble and positioned prominently among the others, belonged to humanity. Ambassador Kevin Price sat in that seat, wearing the same simple blue suit he had worn during his first visit. But this time no one laughed at his appearance. No one dismissed him as primitive or insignificant. The other counselors treated him with careful respect. the kind of respect reserved for those who had proven themselves dangerous. High Counselor Zarathek addressed the chamber, her forearms spread in a gesture of welcome. We gather today to formally induct Earth into the Galactic Council as a full member with complete voting rights and representation. This marks a new era of cooperation between humanity and the elder species of our galaxy. The words sounded genuine, but Kevin could hear the bitterness underneath. Zarathek had fought this decision for months, but she had been outvoted. Too many council species had seen the battle footage. Too many had recognized that humanity could not be defeated through force. Better to bring them into the council than to fight a war that could destroy everything. Kevin stood and bowed respectfully to the assembled counselors. On behalf of humanity, I accept this invitation. Earth looks forward to working with all species represented here to build a galaxy based on mutual respect, fair trade, and peaceful cooperation. We bring our knowledge, our energy, and our commitment to protecting freedom for all sentient beings. Polite applause echoed through the chamber. Most of it was sincere. Some species genuinely welcomed humanity's membership, hoping that new perspectives would reform the stagnant council. Others applauded because they feared what would happen if they did not. A few applauded while already plotting against the upstart humans. After the formal ceremony ended, ambassadors from a dozen species approached Kevin. Some offered congratulations. Others proposed trade agreements or cultural exchanges. A few whispered warnings about rival factions that might not accept humanity's rise to power. Kevin smiled and made polite conversation, but his mind was elsewhere. Admiral Morrison waited in a secure conference room adjacent to the main chamber. He wore his dress uniform, medals gleaming on his chest, a symbol of military strength backing up Kevin's diplomatic words. When Kevin entered, the Admiral looked up from a datapad he had been studying. "How did it go?" Morrison asked. "As well as could be expected," Kevin replied. "We are official members now. Full voting rights, equal status with the elder species, but I do not trust half of them. Zarathek is furious that we forced this outcome. And there are others who smile while planning our destruction." Morrison nodded. "Our intelligence confirms your suspicions. Captain Grant's team has identified at least 8 species that are actively hostile to our presence. They are forming a coalition, calling themselves the Alliance for Galactic Stability. They claim to support traditional values and order. What they really mean is they want to maintain the old power structure where they dominated everyone else." Kevin said bitterly. "How serious is the threat?" "Very serious," Morrison replied. "They are pooling their military resources. Our estimates suggest they could field a fleet of over 200 warships within a year. That is more than 4 times the force we faced at New Haven. Even with our technological advantages, those numbers are concerning." Kevin sat down heavily. "Can we win if they attack?" Morrison considered the question carefully. "Honestly, I do not know. We have continued improving our fleet. We now have 30 warships operational, with 15 more under construction. Captain Lisa Grant has been promoted to Commodore and given command of a new defensive task force. We are training crews around the clock and developing new weapons. But 200 enemy ships would be a difficult fight." "Then we need allies," Kevin said firmly. "Not every species in this galaxy supports the old order. Some of them genuinely want reform. We need to build a coalition of our own. Species that will stand with us against aggression." "I agree," Morrison said. "Commander Nina Brooks has been traveling to various worlds, offering to share our shield modification technology. Several species have accepted. They are grateful for our help and more likely to support us politically. We are also establishing military training programs. Dozens of alien officers want to learn human combat tactics." Kevin smiled slightly. "So we make ourselves valuable. We offer technology and training that they cannot get elsewhere. We build relationships based on mutual benefit rather than dominance, and when the hostile coalition finally moves against us, we will not stand alone." "Exactly," Morrison agreed. "But we also need to be realistic. War is coming. Maybe not this year, maybe not next year, but eventually, these hostile species will try to eliminate us. They cannot accept a galaxy where humans have real power. We need to be ready." The door opened and Commodore Lisa Grant entered. She looked tired but satisfied. "Admiral Ambassador, I have news. The Corinthian Republic has agreed to a formal alliance with Earth. They will provide 3 of their battlecruisers to join our defensive fleet. In exchange, we help them upgrade their weapon systems." "Excellent work, Commodore," Morrison said. "That brings our coalition to 6 allied species. Not enough to match the hostile alliance in numbers, but enough to make them think twice about attacking. Grant sat down and pulled up a star map on the conference room display. There is something else. Our scouts have detected unusual activity in the Outer Rim territories. Ships moving in patterns that suggest military preparations, but they do not match any known species designs. Kevin leaned forward, studying the map. Unknown ships? Could it be a new species? Possibly, Grant replied. Or it could be an old species that has been dormant for millennia. The galaxy is vast. We know about hundreds of civilizations, but there could be thousands we have never encountered. Whatever these ships belong to, they are powerful and they are interested in what is happening in Council space. Morrison frowned. So we potentially face threats from multiple directions. The hostile coalition within the Council, and unknown forces from the Outer Rim. This situation is becoming more complex by the day. Complexity is our specialty, Kevin said with more confidence than he felt. Humans have always thrived in chaos. While rigid species struggle to adapt, we improvise and overcome. That is what we did at New Haven. That is what we will do again if necessary. Grant smiled. The ambassador is right. I have studied military history extensively, particularly Earth's wars. Time and again, human forces faced overwhelming odds and found ways to win. Superior numbers do not guarantee victory. Superior tactics, superior courage, and superior determination do. Morrison stood and walked to the window. Outside, the gleaming towers of Vexara Prime stretched toward the sky. Monuments to an ancient civilization that had ruled for 10,000 years. The galaxy is changing, he said quietly. The old order is collapsing. What we build in its place will determine the future for countless generations. We did not ask for this responsibility, but we have it now. He turned back to face Kevin and Grant. We need to be more than just good warriors. We need to be good leaders. We need to show the galaxy that humans fight not for conquest but for freedom, that we extend our hand in friendship to all who will take it, but we also draw our sword against those who threaten the innocent. We need to prove that our way is better than the old way of dominance and submission. Kevin nodded slowly. A difficult task. Many species will resist change. Many will see us as upstarts who do not understand galactic traditions. We will make mistakes. We will face criticism and opposition. But if we stay true to our principles, if we remain united, we can build something better. Grant pulled up another display, showing the current positions of all human warships. The fleet continues to grow. In 2 years, we will have 50 frontline vessels. In 5 years, perhaps 100. We are also developing new technologies. Improved engines, better weapons, stronger shields. Every month we become more capable. But technology alone will not save us, Morrison cautioned. We need diplomacy, intelligence, and wisdom. We need to choose our battles carefully and our allies wisely. We need to know when to fight and when to negotiate. That requires judgment that no computer can provide. The three humans sat in silence for a moment, each contemplating the enormous challenges ahead. They had achieved so much in such a short time. Earth had gone from being unknown to being feared and respected. Humanity had earned its place among the stars, but that was only the beginning of the journey. Finally, Kevin stood. We should return to Earth. The President will want a full report. And we need to begin implementing our alliance strategy. Every day we delay is a day our enemies use to prepare. Morrison and Grant nodded. They gathered their materials and headed toward the docking bay where their ships waited. As they walked through the corridors of Vexara Prime, aliens of 100 species stopped to watch them pass. Some looked at them with respect, others with fear, a few with hatred, but none looked at them with dismissal or contempt anymore. The galaxy had learned its lesson. Humanity would not be ignored.